All right, so to return to our creature composite, the goal we have now is to take all of these pieces that we put together and we kind of join them like a puzzle, and we've talked about it like building a car, assembled them in their own areas, and then brought them all together onto a whole. We still have some cleaning up to do, but we also need to merge all of them. We need to transition them all together, transition their color, transition their edges, transition their opacity. We might decide we need extra references, just like we did with our landscape, to kind of smooth things out as we go. So I have my inspiration and my sketch off to the side, but now I have my whole sketch covered, and hopefully I am only working with components that I have chosen for the job. I actually kind of like that black in there. Now, some tips on how to clean it up as you're cutting it out. When you use the eraser, make sure you're on the brush, make sure you're on a pressure sensitive brush stylus, which would be the one in the middle there, pressure sensitive for size. And that allows you, I'll have auto select for layer on, so it's easy to select layers. That allows you to easily go back and forth and completely remove content, especially if you're at a 100% opacity. Now, usually I won't do 100% hardness. I'll just take it back a little bit, 80, 90, somewhere around there. But even though we're being careful to erase everything, we often leave parts. And so how can we check for those to make sure we're doing everything we can? Well, the background right now is just an empty grid. We want to fill that with a middle gray. So that will be one of the first things I do here. I go down to the very bottom, behind everything, on top of my sketch, my background layer, which shows me the sketch there. Make a new blank layer and say Edit Fill with 50% gray, normal mode 100%. And you'll see all of a sudden these little things pop up that I wouldn't notice otherwise. And we're going to try to clean those out. All right. And the reason I have auto select on the move tool on is that makes it a lot easier to select a layer in which to delete from. So as I'm cleaning up, I can just select on the mark and it will automatically select that layer. Sometimes those marks can be quite small, so it's right at the tip of the arrow, and then it will take you automatically to that layer. I'm using this pressure sensitive brush at about between 80 and 90% hardness. You can make it all pretty clean in how it transitions. So we're just cleaning up the outside right now. Cleaning up our mess from putting everything together. When you use quick selection tools, like the magic wand, like the quick selection tool, you'll get these artifacts often. And those artifacts are a pain when you print it and you've taken all this care to make sure you have such high resolution, such high quality, and then there's just little fragments you don't want floating around. The other problem with the quick selection tool is you can sometimes get this to happen. It kind of breaks up, especially when you're going fast. So then you have to use this eraser to make some cuts right into it. You have to define your edge. If you need to go more detailed, just go a little bit smaller. Because mine is a rock creature, I think it's okay that he's a little bumpy out here. Now I'm holding down spacebar in order to kind of move around once I'm zoomed in. So Command plus, Command minus, and then spacebar clicking and dragging is how I can navigate on these edges and try to get a refined cut. And we still have not altered the colors or the opacities of these layers in order to transition them into each other. So that's what we still have to accomplish. And this is just like the rocks in my landscape. It's organic, so if I want to make changes to its shape, I can. I just need to make sure they make sense for the anatomy and for the structure that I'm going for. Can't just make it whatever shape I want. But if I wanted this to be a little bit sharper, I should be able to work a point into it. Also, you'll see wherever you, with the gray background putting in, you'll see wherever you transitioned with a soft-edged eraser. See, like right there, and you have to kind of make your cut more defined. Okay, now you can see how I cleaned all that up using that gray background. Now I'm also going to give myself a white background. So I can work between the two. And then this is something we'll also do with kind of sticker and t-shirt design. I'll also give myself a black background so I can make sure it reads on all these different values. And that makes it really versatile for taking this character design into a different landscape, a different environment. Now, if this was hair or feathers, I would probably use a slightly softer brush. But being that it's shell, I can get away with between 80% and 90% hardness. Okay. Enough of that for right now. There's a lot of little debris around here. I'll show you how we can fix it at the very end. I've got a piece of grass there I need to take care of. And of course, the more layers you use, the more compositing you do, the more there is to clean up. And the more practice you get, the more you can just kind of move with confidence with your eraser. And even though we're not creating any pixels of our own, we're just modifying found pixels, you do get the sense that you are drawing it, creating it yourself. Now this would be very hard to do without the tablets, without being able to change the size of your eraser with your pressure on the pen. So that's why I'm such a big advocate of them. This is very tricky to do with the mouse, but if you needed to, the tool you could use is what's called the polygonal lasso. And what you do is you just click. It's made for use with the mouse. It's very sensitive, but you click and it will always make straights between your lines. So even though you won't get any curves, you can get pretty well-defined edges just by pointing and clicking. And you can map an area that way and then just hit delete. So that's what I would do if I had a mouse instead of a stylus. But with the stylus, I can beautifully taper off the claw. So, and with this claw, a little bit's missing, so I can do that trick of kind of micro compositing. Take a little bit of this tip, duplicate it with Command J, move it over, transform it. You don't want it to look copy-pasty. Blend it in. Move it into place. Integrate it. There it is. By using Command E with the layer. So select both layers with Shift and then Command E. All right, so we're almost there. We're just cleaning it up so that then we can alter the colors, get the lighting to match. We're going to dodge and burn it today as one object once we get rid of all this. And then I'm going to see what other components I need to help with my transitions. All right. So let's put a white background behind it and see if we're done with all our puzzle pieces. Take my gray background, do a new one over that blank layer, edit, fill, 100% white, normal. This will show me my edge quality pretty clearly. Then what do I do about a little piece of grass like that? Well, we're going to just talk about clone stamp and some other ways to make those work. All right.